If players are angry and frustrated now with everything happening on Amazon and the product dumps we're seeing, it's not over yet, because Wizards of the Coast announced in their third quarter earnings call little bits of information that can highlight what's coming down the pipeline. So in today's video, we'll go over some of these points for Wizards of the Coast and what they mean for us, the players, about what Wizards of the Coast has planned. It's all about the inventory issues that Hasbro has to deal with. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here, and thanks again for hanging out with me on my channel today. Now, of course, before we get today's video started, thanks again to everyone who's been hitting that subscribe button, turning on the notification bells, and giving these videos a thumbs up, and commenting in the comment section. We are less than 2,000 subscribers away from the 20K subscriber party, so thanks again to everybody who is subscribing to the channel and watching my content each and every day. Now, let's get on to some serious stuff. This is the third quarter earnings call for Wizards of the Coast. I'm sure a lot of YouTube content creators are going to have their take on what's going on, but I want to focus a lot on what they're talking about for Wizards of the Coast. There are other issues at play that will affect Wizards of the Coast, but I'm only going to touch on those a little bit. Now, the earnings call link I will leave inside the description of this video, so you can go and take a look at the entire 45 to an hour minute call. If you don't know what you're listening for, it can be a little difficult. But there are chinks in the armor of things they mention and don't mention. If you've watched enough of these things, you get to kind of understand some of it. But the biggest thing I took away is the issue of inventory. Now, in the fourth quarter call last year, when Hasbro did their call, they said they had made too much product. And it's not just Wizards of the Coast stuff, which I'm sure still takes up a lot of warehouse space, but it's also board games and other products they have created from Play-Doh, etc., that aren't selling. They were stuck at the warehouse level. And this time they came around during the call, and Chris Cox is like, hey, we've had some great success in lowering the overstock we have and working toward a better system of, managing our inventory, okay? Now, they've got all their supply chains kind of back on track. They're trying to find ways to get different ways of supplying their stuff, because a lot of it's, of course, manufactured in China, and they want to broaden out so it doesn't affect them as much if the world has this kind of issue in the future. That's great. But I took away the inventory. Inventory. They lowered inventory by 16% at their warehouse level, 24% at distribution center level. So a lot of distributors have been aggressive in selling things off at discounts and getting it off the shelves, and then calling up Hasbro and saying, we need some more of this, and then Hasbro's been able to clear out their warehouses. That sounds like it's all good and great, right? You're moving things out. And they have a lot of bills to pay when this stuff has been manufactured and stored for a long period of time. All the way back to 2021, 2022, you need to get this stuff off the books. So we're not just talking about Magic, but we're also talking about things like Monopoly and board games that this company creates. But let's focus on the Magic, because Magic sales, their actual volume of sales for Magic, are down about 4%. So it's a little bit down, quite a bit down from year over year, and the profits are down as well. And they're attributing that to one less Magic series release. So we have one less release this year, so the sales are going to be down. They're not taking into account what's about to happen with Commander Masters, because they don't have to announce that yet. They already had enough issues they had to deal with up front about some troubles they're having with other areas of things they've sold off, like E1 Entertainment that kind of took a bath on it. There was other things they were highlighting, so they didn't want to really touch on the fact that Magic wasn't it's going to be about the same sales as last year. But they do touch on how successful Lord of the Rings was. Oh, it's amazing. It's made us almost $200 million. But then we have a few problems with the royalties we have to pay. Well, that's kind of interesting. Because whatever contract the Tolkien family must have written had that the more that Wizards sells over a certain volume level, they must get some kind of royalty fee, is how I took away from that. It's like, oh, so you have to pay them a little extra if you sell too much and you didn't expect to sell that much? Interesting, right? Interesting. Now, they did mention in the fourth quarter call last year that there would be some higher IPs they had to pay for, which is probably Lord of the Rings. Some of the fees associated. They probably didn't realize it was going to be this bad, so they lost a little bit of their volume of actual disposable income. I find that kind of interesting to think that one product you're hyping that you did very well, you expect it to make about $200 million for the company One product, Lord of the Rings, and they call it a tail product, which means it doesn't just end in like the excitement of a moment. It's going to tail along month after month with kind of continual sales because it's a popular product that a lot of people enjoy. That's good. I actually like that idea, and I celebrate the fact they did a good job on this product. But that doesn't mean you're not going to have worse sales later. Because if this product made you so much money and is on track to be the best-selling Magic the Gathering product in its history, ever. It was Modern Horizons 2, but they said it took 2 years for it to get there. And here we're talking about within less than a year. Lord of the Rings is going to eclipse the entire set. Now that's good for Lord of the Rings fans, because that means chances are Wizards is going to try to get their hands on Battle of the Five Armies. They're going to try to get their hands on other products related to the Tolkien universe because they know they're going to sell well and they know they have an audience, which is amazing. They're going to pay more. We're going to pay more, but it'll come around again, which is great. But basing those informational things about the sales volume on that one bit of information tells you that the other products aren't selling well. They're not. Which means you still have an inventory problem. You haven't adjusted. They talked about adjusting their inventory. And what I mean by inventory, guys, take a look at this. Let's take a look. Inventory reduction meaning. What is inventory reduction? Inventory reduction is the process, right? It's the process. It takes time of lowering inventory levels to a point where they meet the customer demand. Reduction of inventory manually or by SKU number is necessary to eliminate excess products, free up warehouse space, save money, and increase profits. SKU rationalization is one of the most effective cost reduction strategies in an inventory management. Unfortunately, here's where things get a little crazy, right? Unfortunately, many businesses run into issues with excess inventory. It can be caused by a lack of warehouse organization, incorrect demand forecasting, poor inventory control, and more. Staying on top of your inventory levels and calculating the optimal reorder point is key to avoiding this issue. So they made some mistakes and they overstocked and now they're trying to clear it up. So let's hope in the next, now it takes time. So let's say by 2025, you probably should notice tighter print runs on products, not just from Wizards of the Coast direct, Magic products, but even other board games and stuff. They have too much of it. They'll try to find a way to scroll that back. I thought they were already going to be on top of this, but it looks like it hasn't happened yet, and they're still trying to get there. Now, the thing that bothered me, and this may be a big fan breaker for you guys out there, Chris Cox kind of touted how great it was to have some aggressive retailers ordering from them and their online presence being so great, talking about Amazon Prime Days where we managed to get rid of a lot of excess inventory. Yeah, you dumped it all on to the consumer at massive discounts, which upset everyone else who paid full price. You're not going to mention that to your shareholders, I understand. But when you do those Amazon dumps for every player who likes it, there's somebody else who's mad and upset because they purchased it full price 3, 4, 6 months ago. Dominaria Remastered, I'm looking at you. Yeah, I called that one, didn't we? Crazy. So there we have it. Looking at that style of how they're doing things, you can see they've got little problems to deal with, and going forward, they're hoping to correct them. Now, the loss in revenue for Magic the Gathering point of sale, POS, direct at the store levels of around that 4 and 5%, I find interesting because Lord of the Rings probably kept them buoyed above. Like they're doing well because of Lord of the Rings. What's going to happen when Lord of the Rings sales eventually do trend down? Commander Masters isn't going to fill the gap. Depending on how they do Eldraine, which I kind of like the look of right now, I'll be honest. I'm giving it like a tepid thumbs up, hoping it's everything I want it to be. As well as the Caverns of Ixalan, which I have a certain feel I'm hoping for from that product, and I'll get to that when we start seeing spoilers, but it's going to be kind of exciting, I hope. And those, as Chris said, will be modest hits, is what they're expecting. I guess they don't want to, put their thumb in it and say, oh, wow, this may not go well or might go really well, and then they're wrong, and they have to backtrack. So again, it's kind of like business speak to, we're waiting to see how the consumers decide to enjoy our products. Interesting to see, but they do mention tighter, tighter wallets for people out there. They tried to, conversate about how they're making up extra money on things like Pulse, you know, like Hasbro Pulse, where they're doing higher end toy items that cost thousands of dollars, like Grimlock and stuff. And they're making up money there. So they're trying to cover the revenue streams. They're trying to clear up their books and focus. They talked about that, you know, trying to make it all like the new 2.0 system. But again, with Magic the Gathering, I was surprised they didn't tout as a $1 billion industry this year, as their $1 billion IP. It was almost muted and left to the background. And even during the question period, some people did ask some questions about it, how reliant they were on, and how, you know, how much money was coming from that. And they kind of skirted the question a little bit and answered in a generalized way, which I thought was interesting. That maybe they already know there's a few issues with some of how they're doing their products. And maybe they don't want to talk about it yet, and they're trying to get to that level. Because if they can clear up the inventory issues and tighten production runs, increase demand for their products with the tighter production run, you might see things turn around in 2025, but we're still a ways off, aren't we? We're not there yet. And that means it's going to take time, and who knows what contracts they have with things like Cardamundi and the other card manufacturers. You don't know if they've guaranteed a certain amount of production level to keep those factories going at a certain level, or to save their spot in line. I don't know how that all works. I'm kind of curious to find out. So in the next few weeks or months, we're going to see, well, I know, so probably a week or two, we'll know what the next lineup is for next year. And I heard rumors that they're going to do things like another remastered set. Now, I heard rumors that it might be, and you guys can tell me if it's true or not, if you've heard something, that it was going to be Battle for Zendikar remastered. Now, I hope they don't do Battle for Zendikar. I hope they leave that alone. That wasn't mentioned in the conference call, but I hope they don't do a remastered set like that, because it's not that old. And the only way they can sell that kind of product is putting in a gimmick, right? Putting in something to attract the players. So if you think of how we did Zendikar Rising, they put those box toppers in. Okay, I'm going to do my prediction right now. If they're going to do a product like that, they're going to put box toppers in with the fetch lands. Polluted Delta, what is it? That fetch land series, that's what they're going to put in there. Think about it. You need to sell the product. Those are like 60, 70 bucks, 50, 60, all the way up there, because they haven't been reprinted. It has high IP value. You can put that in to sell your boxes on a rehashed product that already exists, because it's reprintable. That I wouldn't put it past them. There's my prediction. If they give a set like that, they're going to put a gimmick like that in there. Just something to think about. So either way, I took away from the earnings call a lot of inventory issues. They're clearing up their books on a lot of other things, but it's the inventory they've got to get under control. They have a few $100 million tied up in excess inventory. Yes, that's board games like Monopoly as well, but it's a lot of Magic stuff that they got to get off the books, which means for all you Amazon fans, you're going to see more dumps. If Commander Masters doesn't work out, 120 days from now, it's going to be dumped out there. Slow trickle at first, and then right before Christmas, here you go, get it cheap, which will just throw everyone into turmoil again. I hope that doesn't happen, but that's the way I can kind of term how they're saying how happy they were going over the great Amazon Prime day that they had. So I hate to think about that, because everyone who paid full price, but that's where we're at right now. Expect to see more of it, because it's selling well, which will irritate more of your LGS level people and even distributors who are not associated with Amazon. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. If you saw the earnings call, if you like the information you saw here today, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Drop some comments in the comment section. Give this video a thumbs up. We'll get this party rocking. Either way, this game is an amazing game to play. Bring a friend to Magic and have a good time. Some of this stuff can't be helped. It's beyond our control. But playing a great game and going to get somebody with some amazing Magic cards is just a blast. Guys, I'll see you tomorrow with another video. Have a great one. Oh, we're at the end. Does anyone even watch the video this late? Probably not. We're like 13 minutes in. We have the top 10 this weekend. The reserve list top 10. Because of what happened in Doctor Who, there was a reserve list card that went through the roof. I already told people on my Discord. I let people know ahead of time when I saw the sales spiking. But it got even crazier. I need to let you guys know, but we'll talk about it on Sunday. And of course, we'll probably mention it during the live stream on Sunday as well. Have a great one, guys. Thanks for being here. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And of course, the shout out goes out to the fantastic patrons of the channel. Thanks again to all my fantastic patrons, guys. The ones who support this channel each and every day and help these videos become reality. Without them, daily uploads aren't possible. Thanks again. You guys rock. Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble, the after party that you're invited to that you never even knew existed. Thanks for hanging out. Now, I had a very sore throat today. Makes no sense because I'm not feeling sick or anything. I think it was like grass stuff, like people cutting lawns, and it kind of got caught in my throat, like the dander and dust stuff. Because it made no sense. I was fine before I started filming. I was just taking the taking the dog and Minimox for a walk. Went awful with all that stuff I breathed in. Either way, back to this earnings call thing. It was interesting to watch this unfold. This is like my third or fourth one. Now I'm kind of getting to what I'm looking at, and I look up some definitions and meanings, guys, but the company's becoming slimmer and trimmer. They're bringing up their profitability markers, which they're supposed to do for the shareholders. They haven't branched out into anything really big right now. They're focused on those main IPs and stuff. But Magic is one of the main IPs, and they may have realized, that's why they're not touting too much about it, that they found an equilibrium point right now where they can't bust out further, so they can't really jump on how great the product is when it can't go above what it's made, right? And they're not saying, oh, it's $1 billion IP. They didn't bring any of that up this call, which I found very interesting. So I'll be interested to see how things unfold in the next while. It's going to be fun. Either way, thanks for hanging out. You can go ahead and drop a boomstick in the comments section if you made it this far in the video, because you know nobody makes it this far, unless it's you, of course. Then you know it's you. Anyway, I'll look forward to seeing you guys for the Hot 10 this weekend. We got the Saturday edition. Then, of course, we got the Sunday with the crazy stuff with Soul Devi Digger. I think I'm at 900 sales on that card. It's ridiculous. One store, when I contacted them, they had like 40 copies for like $1.50, all sold. Then I started calling. Anyway, it got ridiculous, guys, because it's an old Alliances card. But anyway, I let you guys know. Shh. You'll find out anyway.